What if the Doomslayer wakes up in Firelink's shrine? Not the UAC Mars base, not Hell, not even Urdak. Just sitting next to a bonfire in Lordran, looking at some depressed knight in rusty armor who's having an existential crisis. He stands up, cracks his knuckles, looks around, and that's when every boss in Dark Souls collectively realizes they're about to have the worst day of their undead lives. So before people start typing "but actually" in the comments, let's set some ground rules here. We're using canon Doomslayer, post-Doom Eternal. This is the guy who killed the icon of sin, stormed heaven, and made hell itself afraid of him. He's not getting nerfed, he's not roleplaying, he's bringing the full arsenal. Super shotgun, ballista, BFG, the whole 9 yards. His abilities are intact too. That means infinite stamina, armor that regenerates from glory kills, immunity to poison, fire, and pretty much every status effect in the game. The Praetor suit runs on Argent energy, powered by hell itself, so we're talking about armor that's tanked plasma from cyber demons and punches from Titan-class demons the size of skyscrapers. Toxic swamp water in Blighttown, he's taken lava baths in the literal rivers of hell. Curse build-up, the guy is literally too angry to die permanently, like that's canon. We're doing the critical path only. Main bosses, required areas, no painted world, no DLC, no sitting around farming souls in the forest. This is a blitz, a boss rush with walking between checkpoints. And finally, he doesn't know the layout. He's going in semi-blind. Let's talk about the route real quick. The chosen undead's journey is basically ring 2 bells, get the Lord Vessel, collect 4 Lord Souls, then burn it all down and kill Gwyn. Pretty straightforward when you lay it out like that. For the Doomslayer, it's even simpler because he doesn't need to level up, he doesn't need to rest at bonfires to restore his health, he doesn't need to manage equipment weight or attunement slots, he just needs directions, and even then he can kind of just follow the path of least resistance because the game naturally funnels you toward objectives. Let's assume Oscar does his dying speech, drops the Estus flask which the Slayer probably looks at for half a second before ignoring it completely, and points him toward the Undead Burg. Cool, he's off. Undead Burg is basically a tutorial zone, right? We're talking hollow soldiers with broken swords and wooden shields, maybe a few with spears and crossbows. The Slayer has 4 armies of demons that make these guys look like background NPCs. He's not walking carefully, checking corners, managing stamina. He's sprinting through this place at full speed. The hollows try to ambush him, he doesn't even slow down. In Doom Eternal, this guy is dashing, jumping, and chainsawing through hordes of demons while being shot at from every angle. A few undead with rusty weapons? That's not even a warm-up. Then Taurus Demon shows up. Big Minotaur guy jumps down on the bridge with his giant demon great axe. For most players, this is the first real oh crap moment because he hits hard and the arena is tiny. But let's think about what the Taurus Demon actually is from the Slayer's perspective. He's a large demon class enemy, sure, but he's slow, his attacks are telegraphed, and he doesn't have any ranged options. The Slayer has fought Hell Knights and Barons of Hell that are faster, more aggressive, and way more durable. Taurus tries to do his big overhead slam, the Slayer just sidesteps it because his reaction time is literally superhuman, and then it's super shotgun time. 2 or 3 point-blank blasts to the face and Taurus goes down. We're talking maybe 10 seconds total. The Slayer doesn't even register this as a boss fight, it's just an enemy that was slightly bigger than the others. Moving through the Undead Parish, we've got Border Knights, some hollows, the Channeler up on the balcony. Again, none of this matters. The Slayer's been in worse situations on accident. He reaches the roof and finds the Bell Gargoyles, which, okay, this is the first real boss for most players. 2 flying enemies, fire breath, they come at you one at a time but overlap if you're too slow. Tight arena on a rooftop. For a level 10, chosen undead, with a +2 weapon, this is a legitimate wall. But here's the thing about the Gargoyles. They're flying enemies, which means they're vulnerable while airborne, and their fire breath is their main threatening attack. The Slayer has the precision aim to snipe cacodemons out of the air while bunny hopping and has armor that's specifically designed to withstand hellfire. The first gargoyle swoops down, he rocket launches it mid-flight, just deletes it from the sky. The second one shows up, does the fire breath attack, and he walks through it because his suit doesn't care. The fire in Dark Souls is dangerous to the chosen undead because you're mostly wearing medieval armor and cloth. The Praetor suit has survived temperatures that would vaporize steel. He pulls out the chain gun, holds the trigger, and shreds the second gargoyle in a few seconds, rings the first bell. Time elapsed so far, maybe 5-6 minutes if we're being generous and accounting for him sprinting through the areas. Now he's got to go down, through the lower Undead Burg into the depths and then Blight Town. The Capra demon fight is in this tiny enclosed room with 2 attack dogs that jump you the second you walk through the fog gate. It's designed to punish panic rolling. Most players die here a bunch of times because there's no space to maneuver and Capra hits like a truck. The Slayer opens the door, and here's where his reaction speed matters. Those dogs lunge at him immediately. He shotguns both of them before they finish their attack animation. Capra swings his machetes, the Slayer ducks under the swing, uses the meat hook from the super shotgun to yank himself forward, and delivers a point-blank blast that turns Capra into red mist. The whole fight is maybe 7-8 seconds. He doesn't even know this was supposed to be one of the harder early bosses because it's over before it starts. The depths are mostly just navigation, tight corridors, curse frogs, some rats, the channelers casting soul arrows. Nothing here can actually hurt him. Then there's the Gaping Dragon, which has one of the coolest introductions in the game. It's this horrifying giant mouth with legs and a tail, does a big charge attack, slams down with its body. Scary to look at, but it's slow and all of its attacks are heavily telegraphed. The Slayer sees it charge, sidesteps, and unloads the ballista into its exposed head while it's recovering. The Gaping Dragon staggers, he switches to rockets, 3 or 4 direct hits, and it's done. Another fight that's over in seconds because the boss simply doesn't have an answer for sustained high damage ranged attacks from someone who doesn't need to manage stamina or worry about positioning for long. And then there's Blighttown. Okay, real talk, this is the only place in the early game that might actually slow him down. Not because of the enemies, not because of the toxic sludge at the bottom, but because Blighttown is a vertical maze designed by someone who genuinely hates players. It's this massive multi-layered descent with platforms, ladders, rickety bridges, and like 3 different ways to go that all lead to dead ends. The Slayer doesn't have a map, he doesn't have a mini-map, he's just got his eyes and his sense of direction. So yeah, he might drop down to a platform, realize it doesn't lead anywhere, have to climb back up and try a different route. This might add a minute or 2 to his run, which is basically the biggest time loss he'll experience in the entire game. That's not a joke, by the way. The actual environmental navigation is harder for him than any of the bosses because he can't just shoot his way through bad level design. The toxic swamp at the bottom doesn't affect him. His suit is environmentally sealed and has survived way worse. The boulder throwing ogres are annoying, but he can just snipe them from across the swamp with the heavy cannon. And then there's Quelag. Quelag is a skill check boss. She's fast, aggressive, has the lava AoE attack, does a lot of damage. She punishes players who panic roll or get greedy with attacks. But from a threat analysis perspective, she's a large enemy with fire-based attacks in a medium-sized arena. The Slayer has killed dozens of enemies that fit this profile. She lunges with her sword, he dodges. She spits lava, he walks through it because again, his armor doesn't register it as dangerous. She tries to summon lava pools underneath him. The pools take a second to form and he's already moved. He pulls out the plasma rifle, holds the trigger, and just melts her. The plasma rifle in Doom has insane DPS against single targets, and Quelag doesn't have enough health to survive sustained fire. Maybe 12-15 seconds and she's done. He rings the second bell and moves on. Sen's fortress opens up. This place is designed to be a death trap, right? Swinging blades, arrow traps, narrow walkways over pits, snake guys with lightning spears, boulders rolling down ramps. For a normal player, this is hell because you have to carefully time your movement through the traps while also fighting enemies. For the Doomslayer, his reflexes are superhuman. He sees a blade swinging, he doesn't flinch or wait, he just times his movement through it. The snake sorcerers try to lightning shoot homing columns of hellfire that track your movement. This is nothing. He just dodges or tanks it because the lightning damage in Dark Souls isn't enough to get through his armor in any meaningful way. The Iron Golem at the top is a big dude, sure. Tries to grab him, do his wind attack, knock him off the platform. The Slayer dashes between his legs, pulls out the Crucible Blade, which is basically a lightsaber made of pure Argent energy that can one-shot almost anything in Doom, and cuts through both of the Golem's ankles. The Golem falls forward, crashes down, doesn't get back up. 10 seconds, maybe 15. He gets lifted to Anor Londo by the Batwing demons, and let's be honest, they're probably very confused about why this human weighs like 400 pounds and doesn't seem remotely concerned about being carried by gargoyles. Anor Londo, the city of the gods, home to Ornstein and Smove, which is the run killer for most players, the duo boss fight, the skill check, the wall. Let's be real about this. Ornstein and Smove are legitimate threats in the context of Dark Souls. Ornstein is fast, he's got the lightning spear dash that closes distance instantly. He can do ranged lightning attacks. Smooth is a tank with massive AoE hammer slams and a charge attack that tracks you, and when you kill one, the other absorbs their power and gets a full heal plus new moves. This fight is hard because you have to manage 2 threats at once with limited stamina and healing. But let's think about what they actually are. They're two melee-focused enemies with some ranged options in a large open arena. The Slayer has fought way worse. The Marauder in Doom Eternal is faster than Ornstein and has a shield that punishes you for shooting at the wrong time. The Tyrant is tankier than Smo and had better ranged attacks. And the Slayer has fought multiple high-tier demons at the same time while also dealing with fodder enemies. So how does this fight go? The Slayer walks in through the fog gate. Ornstein dashes at him with the spear thrust. The Slayer sidesteps it, counters with a shotgun blast that cracks Ornstein's armor. Smooth charges in with the hammer slam. The Slayer jump dashes over it, shoots him mid-air with the ballista. Ornstein tries the lightning spear throw. The Slayer just moves. The spears are fast, but they're not hit scan. You can see them coming. Here's where it gets interesting. The Slayer realizes these two are coordinated. They're working together. They're actually kind of dangerous if he's not paying attention. So he makes a decision. Focus fire Ornstein first because he's the faster threat. He uses the lock-on rocket launcher, fires a burst at Ornstein while dodging Smova's attacks. Ornstein staggers, the Slayer closes distance and does a glory kill, rips his head clean off. Smoke absorbs Ornstein's power, gets bigger, starts glowing with lightning. He does the butt slam AoE attack. The Slayer dashes out of range, looks up at him, and you can almost imagine him tilting his head slightly like, okay, you get a second phase. Cool, BFG time. He pulls it out, charges it, fires. The entire room lights up green. Smooth doesn't even get to finish his next attack animation. His health bar just evaporates. The BFG in Doomlore shoots out a massive projectile that releases tendrils of argent energy that seek out and destroy anything with a demonic signature. Smooth is infused with the power of a god, sure, but he's still a target. One shot, done. Fight duration, maybe a minute, minute and a half. And most of that is the Slayer actually fighting them normally before he decides to end it. He gets the Lord Vessel, warps back to Firelink. Framp tells him to go collect the Lord Souls. 4 zones, 4 bosses. Let's run through these. Siaf the Scaleless in the Duke's Archives. Siaf is immortal because of the primordial crystal. You're supposed to break it first, then he becomes vulnerable. The Slayer walks into the fight. Siaf does his crystal breath attack. The Slayer dashes through it. He sees the big glowing crystal in the back of the room, shoots it with a single rocket. Siaf becomes mortal. The Slayer walks up to him and unloads the chain gun into his face until he stops moving. Done. The fight is basically over the moment the crystal breaks because Siaf doesn't have the damage output or durability to survive sustained fire. The Bed of Chaos in Lost Izalith. Okay, this is the worst boss in Dark Souls. Everyone agrees on this. It's not hard because of skill, it's hard because it's janky. You have to destroy 2 glowing orbs on the sides, then drop into a pit to hit the core. And the floor keeps collapsing randomly, and there are sweeping tree branches that knock you into holes, and it's just bad design. But for the Slayer, he walks in, sees the 2 orbs, shoots them both with precision rockets from the entrance. They explode. The center opens up, he dashes forward, jumps into the pit, lands on the branch, and slashes the core with the crucible blade. Bed of Chaos dies. Time? 30 seconds? Maybe 40? He doesn't even know this was supposed to be the most frustrating boss in the game. It's just another target. The 4 Kings in New Londo Ruins. This is interesting because the 4 Kings are a DPS race. They spawn 1 at a time on a timer. But if you don't kill them fast enough, multiple kings start overlapping and you get overwhelmed. They have magic projectile spam, grab attacks, AoE explosions. The fight is designed to punish slow defensive play. The Slayer drops into the abyss. First king spawns. He immediately goes full aggro with the plasma rifle and ballista combo. Holds both triggers, just dumps damage into it. The king tries to swing its sword. The Slayer dashes through the attack, keeps firing. First king dies before the second one spawns. Second king appears, same strategy. Stun lock it with ballista shots, burn it down with plasma. Third king spawns, he's starting to ramp up now. The Slayer swaps to the rocket launcher, blows it apart. Fourth king spawns, and the Slayer pulls out the Unmaker, which is this rapid fire laser weapon that just deletes health bars. Total fight time, maybe 45 seconds, a minute tops. The abyss evaporates, he climbs back out. Nito in the Tomb of the Giants. Gravelord Nito, first of the dead, sits in a dark pit surrounded by skeleton adds. The Slayer drops down. Nito rises up, does his AoE scream attack that's supposed to do massive damage. The Slayer's armor just tanks it. Nito summons the skeleton adds to swarm him. The Slayer tosses a frag grenade into the group, clears them all instantly. Nito swings his sword, the Slayer dodges, pulls out the super shotgun, walks up point blank and just unloads into him. 2 shots, 3 shots, Nito goes down. The Slayer does a glory kill, rips his spine out. Done. So now he's got all 4 Lord Souls. He goes back to Firelink, places the Lord Vessel in the altar, and the path to the kiln of the first flame opens up. He walks through kiln, the Black Knights try to stop him. They don't. These are the same enemies he's been killing since the beginning of the game, they're just slightly tougher versions. Doesn't matter. He reaches the fog gate. Final boss, Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, Lord of Cinder. The final test. Gwyn is aggressive, relentless, he hits hard, his attacks combo into each other. He's designed to pressure you constantly. Most players either learn to parry him or they have a really tough time. The Slayer walks in. Gwyn immediately rushes him, doesn't even wait, swings his flaming greatsword in a big overhead arc. The Slayer blocks with his forearm. The sword bounces off the Praetor suit, like literally just rebounds. Gwyn tries to grab him, the Slayer dodges, counters with a shotgun blast to the chest. Gwyn staggers. He does his lightning attack, the AoE explosion. The Slayer walks through it. His armor runs on Argent energy harvested from hell itself. What's a little lightning gonna do? Gwyn goes for one last desperate combo. The Slayer waits for an opening, dashes in, grabs him by the face. Glory kill, slams him into the ground, curb stomps him. The first flame flickers. The Slayer looks at it for a second, then just lights it and walks away. Doesn't even look back. End of game. So let's talk time. If the Doomslayer went full sprint, no brakes, optimal routing, which okay, he doesn't actually know the optimal route, so we have to add some time for getting lost in Blighttown, maybe backtracking through Sen's Fortress or the Tomb of the Giants because those places are mazes. We're looking at about 30 to 40 minutes total, maybe push it to 50 if he takes a couple wrong turns or stops to reload weapons. Dark Souls, a game that takes most players 40 to 60 hours on their first playthrough, cleared in less time than it takes to watch an episode of a TV show. And here's the thing, Dark Souls is hard for humans. You have to manage stamina, you have limited healing, your attacks are slow and committal, and you get punished hard for mistakes. The game is designed around resource management and pattern recognition. The Doomslayer doesn't have stamina. He doesn't need to heal because his armor regenerates. His attacks are instant, and he has infinite ammo for most of his weapons. And he's fought things that are objectively more dangerous than anything in Lordran. The demons in Doom aren't just tough, they're designed to kill him specifically, and he wins anyway. Soulsborne isn't hard, it's just not hell. And that's episode 1. Next time we're sending him to Dark Souls 3. Pontiff Sulivan, Sister Frida, Soul of Cinder, all of them.